Okay, so this lesson is building upon 8.1 and 8.2. Obviously, the last one we were figuring out the amount financed, okay? This one is figuring out the interest on a long term. I added this. Term is important. This comes down to how many months a loan is. Okay, that's what a term is, how long it's going. On your handout, this worksheet, when we get to the first part of the lecture, is important because this is a key that's helping us figure out this data, okay? So this table goes to this right here. When we come down to here, this formula is a replacement of this. This is figuring out the long way. This is using a table to figure it out, okay? So it's basically an algorithm or a formula that if we follow it within this set guidelines, we're able to find out the answer, okay? Now, we don't have a lot of these questions because they're longer, okay? But we're going to break this down. This is one of the more difficult formulas. However, I will tell you, knowing this one, and then when we get to APR, if you have the steps down, the APR and so on gets easier, okay? So, looking at our formulas, first of all, annual percentage rate. Basically, all that is, you guys have been figuring out rates on simple loan interest and so on, right? The rate is the amount that's charged over an annual basis, 365 days, okay? So, if you remember in 8.1, we did ordinary and exact, right? Yeah. And those two are different. One is 360 days and the other one's 365. And then depending on days. So everything that we do from here on forward now are now in years. Okay? Now, this particular example that we're going over is 24 months, but that's 2 years. Okay? Most of your questions will be 5+. Okay? Let me tell you why this is important. This is important because if you went and got yourself into a 3 or 5 year car loan, you could figure this stuff out yourself rather than what the bank is telling you it is, right? You can check to make sure that you're being charged the right amount. Okay, so the formula. We have a couple of things going on. First, we're going to take the amount of the loan, we're going to divide it by 100, and we're going to multiply it by the table. Okay, so turn your handout to the table, and let's go over the table for a minute. So obviously this is 8.13 back to book, but I'm giving it to you because it's easier just to have it rather than keep flipping the pages. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and we're going to look at this loan in this particular example. And can I have someone read example 1 first? Let's get through that first.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So Anita Sloan Bank granted her a single loan payment of $7,200 for 91 days to pay her new merchandise for her candle shop.
Oh, hold up for a minute. It is. It's A1. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong. Oh, it is A1.
It is A1.
It is. Okay, pull out the book and let's go to 8.3. I don't know how that happened. But I'm glad the table's in there, and that's what's important. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not Anita. So 311.
All right. Remember you again?
Yep, thank you.
Blake and Jacqueline Super are purchasing a $1,399.99 side-by-side refrigerator with an installment loan that has an APR of 12%. The store financing requires 10% down payment and 12 monthly payments as a finance charge.
Okay, so what was that name? Balake?
Yeah,
Did you get it? Did you? Okay. Sorry, I had to throw that one out there. Okay, so essentially what this has is that we're using the table to solve the problem. Okay, so let's go to the sheet right here, this very bottom half graph or table. So this table is monthly payment on a single interest installment loan. Okay, well it told us something in the problem that was crucial. See this left-hand side right here, Jason? These are the number of the months of the payments. Okay, Santana, you see that? These are the months of the payment. So we go to 12. It also told us the interest rate, didn't it?
10%.
Was it 10 or was it 12?
It was
Okay, so scroll over and see what 12% is. Do you see that number?
4.71.
12 right here, 12 months, the bottom one. 12 months at 12% interest is what?
8.88.
Okay, do you both see that?
Yeah.
Okay, this table is important. Without this table, you can't solve the problem. Well, you can. You could do it this way, right? But this is a faster way to do it. Okay, so let's go through that. So once again, we're taking the amount of the loan divided by 100 times the monthly payment of 100. That's what we just did, this table. Going to the rate of the 12%, going to the payment, and finding that factor amount. Now I'm going to show you how to put it in the formula. Okay? But this is what it is. Now, when we figure this out, what we just figured out is how much the monthly payment is. Okay? So once we figure out the monthly payment, we have to figure out the total amount repaid, or, like we covered in 8.1, the maturity value, right?
Yeah.
So the maturity value is the interest plus the principal. It's the total amount repaid, okay? So we got to take the number of payments once we figure this out, multiply it by the monthly payment to get the total amount repaid, okay? Once we have the amount repaid, we just subtract it from the amount that they financed. We can figure out how much interest the entire loan cost them. Are we following?
Well, how'd you get the amount financed?
The amount financed is the section we just did, previous, right? We're taking, if they had a $10,000 purchase and they put $2,000 down,
Subtracted.
they're financing $8,000, right? So you see how these lessons are tying together? So the first one was ordinary and exact. The second one was amount financed. Now we're taking that amount financed and we're figuring out over a long term what those rates are. Okay, what we're figuring. Okay, so with that said, they're buying a side-by-side refrigerator, right? The finance charge you're paying 10%, okay? This is the down payment, right? So we multiply this and we get 139,999. I'm recording, so this we round to 140, right? So now we take the 140, we subtract it from the purchase price, and this is how much you're financing. Now guess what? This is the amount that goes right here. Okay? So this $1,259.99 goes to the top of the formula, divided by 100, then we go to the table. And we look at 12 months, 12% interest, and that's where the 8.88 goes. Okay, are we tracking?
Yes.
Let me see the thumbs up if we got this. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we do the math, okay? And let's do this together. Pull out your calculators and let's do it. Let's take $1,259.99 divided by 100 and then times 8.88 and tell me what you get. So $1,159.99 divided by 100 times 8.88.
111.88. That equals
Right. So 887, that 7 is above 5, so it's going to turn that 8 to a 9. So we just figured out the monthly payment.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now we know what the monthly payment is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we can figure out the finance charge. Because we take this monthly payment right here and we multiply it by 12. Why by 12?
Because that's the amount,
Or?
the months they use it.
The amount of the payments, right? They have 12 payments. So it's a year loan, it's 12 payments. We multiply this, we get $1,342.68, right? Let's go ahead and do that.
1342.68.
Okay? Now, once we have this, last step is easy. We take the amount that we got, we subtract it from the original amount they borrowed, and when we subtract this, this is how much the interest they're being charged. Now, we have to get used to a new vocab word, and that's what we call the finance charge. So finance charge and interest are the same. Now,
That's that equation, huh? The last one?
yes, the very last one. So this one right here goes right here. This one right here is this one right here. And this one right here is this one right here. So here's our first formula. There's our second formula. There's our third. Now here's the good thing about these formulas. We have to go in this order. We have to do it this way. Because we need information from this one to go down here. We need information from this one to go down here. So it's a progression of steps. Do we see that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are we solid on this? Do we want to practice one?
I have a question.
Go for it.
Where it says monthly payment of $100, that kind of throws me off. What about $100?
All that means is this table right here.
Okay.
That's all that means.
All right.
Okay? Marcus, not right now. I'm recording. Come back later. Okay, are we clear?
Gotcha.
Okay, good. Okay, now the next one. We're going to go through this slow. If you notice, I numbered all the steps like I numbered here. Okay? All this is, here's our formula. This is what we're doing. Now you may look at that and say, oh gosh, this is Greek. It's really not that hard. Okay? These letters mean something. So I wrote that down here. P stands for principal. R stands for rate. R stands for rate. N stands for the amount of payments. Okay? This is what's crucial. This key on your calculator. Okay? This key is an exponent key. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to use this exponent key and how we get the answer. Tracking so far? Okay. Let's go ahead. Violet is here just in time. Violet, go to page 311. Will you read me example 2?
Is it on here?
It's on 311.
No.
Section
312, thank you. At the bottom, probably the bottom of the page, or top of the page. Middle of the page. Okay.
312?
Yes, 312.
Okay. Harry Mills obtained a $4,500 installment loan at an APR of 9%. He must repay the loan in 24 months. Find the monthly payment using the formula, then total amount repaid and finance charge.
Thank you. Okay, so this is what we know. We know it's a $4,500 loan. We know the rate is 9%, and we know that it's 24 months. Okay? What is APR?
Percentage rate.
Yes. Now notice something. It told us 9%. Okay? So the very first thing we have to do is we have to take that 9%, because we're trying to figure out what the monthly payment is at the end of the day, right? Now that's what this formula is. This formula is figuring out what the monthly payment is. So we have to take that rate of 9% and we have to divide it by 12. That is our very first step. Okay? Let me explain why.
8.7.
0075. So taking your calculators, we're going to do this one all together. 0.09 divided by 12. Now, when it comes to decimals in this problem, or this type of problem, you do not round. You do not round till you get your final answer. Is that clear? Because all these numbers matter at the end of the day. Okay? Especially when you're going longer term. All right. Now, with that said, let's go through this. So what answer did you get in your calculator?
0.0075.
Okay. This 0.0075, what we just figured out is we took that 9% interest over the year, we divided by 12. This is how much interest they're paying on a monthly basis. Are we clear? So this is always your first step. You always have to break down the interest to a monthly amount. Okay? All right, now going back to this formula. Remember I wrote this stuff down here. You need to know what these things are. Okay? So principal, that's the amount that you're borrowing, right? That's the amount that you owe at the end of the day that you're borrowing. The rate, that's the amount of interest you're being charged, and the term is how long the loan is going for, okay? So knowing this information and what these letters are important, right? P standing for principal, R standing for rate, and N standing for number of payments. So this is the formula. Without going into too much detail, let me walk you through this. What this is saying if we take the principal, we multiply it by the rate, okay? Then inside parentheses, if we take $1 times the rate, exponent to the power of the number of payments, and we multiply this all together, and then we divide it by 1 plus the rate to the exponent of the number of payments minus 1. We divide these, we will get the monthly payment, okay? And this is with all the information given to us. So pretty cool formula, right?
What's that one? The first one.
That's the one we just figured out. We took 0.09, we divided by 12, and we got 0.0075. That's the monthly interest amount. Now I want to point out the obvious here, okay? This part of the equation is super easy. Let me tell you why. You see this, Violet? $1 plus R to N. Isn't that the same thing here?
Yeah.
Okay, so once you figure out this amount's going to go down here, look, and then we're just subtracting 1, okay? So you'll see as we do this, we're going to figure it out this one time. We can do this on the bottom, subtract 1 from it, and we just took care of half the problem, right? So once we understand this problem is not that hard, okay? Now, I'm going to review because this is all PEMDAS, right? So tell me what this means. What do we do first in our operations?
Parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division.
Okay, whoa. Talk to me about this for a minute. What direction does this go? What comes first, multiply or divide?
Multiply.
No.
Divide.
What comes first, multiply or divide? No. Multiply, divide. What comes first? Depends how it is, left to right. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
If you multiply or you divide before you multiply, you could get the problem wrong. Same thing with adding and subtracting. You don't add first and then subtract. You add, subtract left to right. You multiply, divide left to right. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. So that means according to this problem, we have an exponent, right? We have to solve inside the parentheses first. So we have to solve inside this parentheses, which we're going to be able to, because we're going to know what this number is. Then we take this number, we have to do the exponent next, right? So we do the exponent. So we solve inside here, we do this, and then we multiply and divide left to right. So we're going to multiply, multiply, multiply. And that's it. That's following PEMDAS. Now, let's start putting some numbers to this. Okay, so, very first step, we took the 9%, we divided by 12. Does this always happen?
Yes.
Yes, they're never going to tell you what the monthly interest is. Ever. They're going to tell you what the annual is. You have to figure out what the monthly is. Okay, so this is always your first step. Now your second step, which by the way is the hardest part of the problem, that's just setting up the formula. Okay, so let's go through this. We have a $4,500 loan. We have 9% in our rate, 24 months. So we have everything we need to solve the problem. Okay, so we take the 9, we divide it by 12, and we got our rate. We just figured out what R is. Okay, so inside R, which R goes here and R goes here. So I'm writing R here and R inside here. Is everyone tracking? Okay, this doesn't change. This is always in the formula, no matter what. Okay? Look, this one is set. This one is set. This one is set. These never change. Those are constants. Okay? All right. So look what we just did. Didn't we really decipher and break down the top part of the equation?
Yeah.
We're borrowing $4,500. We figured out what our rate is. We wrote our rate twice plus 1, and our payments are 24. Okay, let me see thumbs up or thumbs down on this if I need to go through it one more time. Okay, let's go through it one more time. $4,500 loan, 9% rate, 24 months. Very first step, we got to take this 9% divided by 12 because we need this in a monthly amount. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now we take this and we put it right here and right here in the formula. Right here in the formula. This part doesn't change, that's constant. Do we see that? Violet, give me a second. Okay.
What part is that half, the 4,500?
How much were they borrowing?
There's 4,500.
Okay.
And
So this is the principal, this goes right here. We figured out the rate goes right here. This doesn't change, we write the rate, oh that's awesome. We write the rate twice, so here, and the amount of their payments is 24.
and then that other section is the bottom part of that.
Yes, ignore that right now. We're not even going to go there. Yes?
Okay, so we don't ever, okay, so for the first part, when it says you would use 24 on the first part, like say, okay. 'Cause
Are you talking, when you say first part, do you mean example one?
Yeah, example one.
Example one is totally different.
Okay, so.
So example one, we use the table. And I already covered that when you came in, so I will spend some time with you on this. But essentially all you're doing is there's a table that is in your your handout and you're following this small table right here,
Okay.
you're looking at how many months the payment is, so it's 12 months in this case and 12%. So you scroll across and you scroll down, it's 8.88. So the only thing that's different in this one, we figure out the amount financed, yesterday's lesson, okay? We divide it by 100 and we multiply it by this factor, so that's what we're using this table for. This gives us our monthly payment.
Alright, so for example 2, we never use like 24, like the way you have 0.09. Okay, yeah, I get that. But we don't use it for like when we divide it, just 12 because of a year.
That's an excellent question. Did everyone pick up on that?
No.
Excellent, excellent question. It's always 12. Always, no matter what. Because how many months are in a year?
12.
Okay, it's telling you your APR. Your APR is annual, so it's saying the amount over the entire year. So that is an excellent question. Yes, you have to take that and you have to divide it by 12. It is always 12, because there's 12 months in a year. Yes, very, very, very good question. And that's how we got this number. Okay? Okay, so are we tracking on this first one now? Do we want to go through it one more time? Jason, one more time. Ready?
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Okay. This is one of the tougher ones, but once you get there, I promise you, as we get through chapter 8 and it gets a little more difficult, getting this and grasping this, you know the steps. We're refreshing on this, you'll get this. It's not as hard. This is where we start, where it gets a little difficult. Okay? Okay, so Jason, 4,500, right?
Yeah.
We figured out the rate. We took 9% divided by 12. That goes in here and right here. So remember, this never changes, right? Principal, 4,500. That's the amount that they're borrowing. The rate, we figured out the rate, 9% divided by 12. That was excellent. Violet's question there. So this part goes right here, and it also goes right here, see? Inside the formula. This one never changes. So this is what I teach in my Algebra 2 class. If you want to make this easier on yourself, do it like this. You could write the formula 1 plus, like this. This never changes, okay? So the rate goes in here, principal goes in here, the rate goes in here, number of payments go up here, okay? But trust me, you're going to do this problem enough times, all you have to do is look at this and be able to understand it. So what I would do is on your piece of paper, I would write this at the top of where you're doing your questions, your assignment. Okay. Okay, do we have this down now, the top part? Okay, now, calculators. Pull your calculators out. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, and I think your keys are, and unfortunately some of these, the keys are about rubbed off.
I think it's right here.
So it's that one right there, okay? Yep. And right there, okay? All right, now let's follow. So this is what we do. First thing we have to do, we have to solve inside the parentheses, right? So we're going to take 1 and we're going to add it to the rate. Is there any real math here?
No.
There's not, because we're just putting a 1 in front of this. So put this in your calculator, please. 1.0075. Now, press that key. Press 24. Press the key again. Tell me your number.
1.196
Whoa.
41352.
Okay, did everyone get this?
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
So how you do that?
So we're going to take 1.0075. You're going to press this key, 24, press the key again.
Oh,
Okay? Yes, press it twice. Do you want me to write that down right here? Let's do that, okay? Add this to your notes. Press twice. For those of you at home that are watching this, same thing, right? Let's go through this again. We're going to take this number, right? We're going to press this key. We're going to put in the number of payments. And we're going to press the key again, and it's going to give us this number, correct? Okay, guess what? We just solved most of the problem right now. Because this right here, okay, is all this right here. All this is done. We took care of the parentheses. We took care of the exponents. So now we have a number right here, right? Isn't this one fairly easy? Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's put 4,500 in your calculator times 0.0075 and tell me what the answer is. The challenge is of teaching at Southwest Leadership Academy.